Billy back here with Broship of the Nerds. I have some unfortunate news. Hulk Hogan passed away today. He was 71 years old. And I wanted to talk about what Hulk Hogan meant to me as a fan and just some of the moments he had. Wrestling would not have gotten as big as it did. There would be no WWE without Hulk Hogan. WrestleMania 1, as you know, everything was on the line. Vince McMahon had put up his house and everything was riding on the success of the first WrestleMania, and Hulk Hogan was a huge part of that. The thing, he teamed with Mr. T. The thing is that merchandising, so much merchandise was sold, and a lot. If you're like me, you're a '90s kid, and I was a Hulk Hogan kid, and I'll admit that I was a Hulk Hogan kid. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, that sort of thing. And when he would Hulk up, that was so cool. There are just so many great wrestling moments that exist because of Hulk Hogan. 1991 Royal Rumble winner. When his music hit, the crowd went nuts. I remember it was Hogan and Warrior. I was watching some old VHS tapes. I would rent VHS. That ages me a bit. Family Video would have them. And I remember 1990 Royal Rumble where Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior have a face down towards the end of the match. It was before there were still a few entrants to come in, but Warrior came out and Hogan and Warrior cleared the ring. Shawn Michaels, a few other people were thrown out. They're face to face. The crowd's going nuts, and this would lead to an epic matchup down the road between Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, where the Ultimate Warrior, the Intercontinental Champion, would defeat the WWF Champion and win that champion from Hogan. So that was a big moment for wrestling. The Survivor Series team matches, people would root for Hogan. Of course, you had a lot of WrestleMania moments because of him slamming Andre the Giant and hitting the leg drop and beating him. He was in movies. He was loved, back in the day. And things happen, I won't talk about some of the bad things, but I would like to focus on what he did for wrestling. And then, of course, whenever he left WWE, because WWF back then, but now WWE, people were kind of getting tired of his character. He was winning all the time, they were rebelling to that. So he went over to WCW, and you had Hall and Nash, and they were looking for the third man. Ended up being Hulk Hogan, who dropped the leg drop on Randy Savage multiple times, forming the NWO, which you want to talk about making money, making headlines. NWO was it. Hollywood Hulk Hogan's, the spray painting people after they won or after they beat somebody up. Just so many cool moments throughout his career. Personally, the match with The Rock, where you had Bret and Stone Cold did the same thing. The double turn, right? So Hogan going into the match supposed to be the heel. Rock supposed to be face. During the match, when Hogan hulks up, the fans are going nuts for Hogan. And they're booing The Rock. So now Rock starts being brilliant like he is, starts working as a heel. Hogan works as a baby face. And of course, Rock wins. But just for that one moment, you were like 3 years old again, right? 5 years old, rooting for your hero Hulk Hogan. So the impact he had on wrestling was astronomical. He brought it to that next level. He took it from a few, some people watching to this mainstream thing. Like I said, the amount of merchandise he had. I know I still have some of the LJN Hogan's, Hasbro. I have a Hollywood Hogan somewhere, and some different editions of the figures. I had the stuffed buddies. I had like a Hogan and Warrior one. I still have my Sting one. But yeah, then he was with Jimmy Hart, and like I said, Hogan was not the most technical wrestler. He was a showman, right? He knew how to work the crowd. He knew when to hulk up. He knew how to get the crowd into the matches and into the show. The fans loved him back then. And I just think that his legacy, they call him the immortal Hulk Hogan, good or bad, his legacy will carry on for everything he did for the wrestling industry. I don't think we would be talking about Raw on Netflix or PLEs, pay per views, as I call them, without Hulk Hogan. He had that cage match with Bundy. That was a hell of a match. Trying to think of some other ones that really stand out. In the 90 Rumble, I remember, just like I said, him winning 90 and 91, being the first back to back Rumble winner. And that was unheard of. Well, you got to think of the star power too, because when he was around, he was the number one guy. You had $1 Million Man, you had Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, Rowdy Piper, Jake the Snake Roberts, Andre the Giant, uh, King Kong Bundy, Demolition. You had so many big star, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair for a while there. Yokozuna was starting to come up. Shawn Michaels still early in his career at that point. But so many, Undertaker, so many people were coming up at that time, and he was still the number one guy for so long. And yeah, he would put over Warrior or Macho Man at times, but he was the guy for the longest time. So, thoughts, prayers with his family, his friends. I remember watching Hogan Knows Best and him and Brian Knobbs messing around quite a bit. And wrestling's hard on your body, you know. And back then, we didn't have the concussion knowledge we do now. There were obviously just so many crazy things back then. The pain those wrestlers go through. Back then, it was worse because we didn't have the knowledge we do now to like take care of these people better. But yeah, he was a megastar, and I could talk all day. But I wanted to come on here and say that the wrestling world is mourning Hulk Hogan's loss. And like I said, you can look at the good, you can look at the bad, but at the end of the day, what he did for wrestling as a whole, like I said, bringing it to the stratosphere, right? Bringing it to that next level. So thanks for everything you did for wrestling, and sorry to see you go. Um, his theme song, I can just remember playing that really loud because I loved it. It was just awesome, and what that character stood for and everything. Like when that song hit and he hit the curtains, crazy. And I remember in WCW whenever he came back in the red and yellow, place went nuts. Honestly, I think if better decisions would have been made in WCW, they probably would have won out. But here we are. Things went differently. But yeah, we have Red and Yellow Hogan, NWO, and a bunch of other things he did. But I just wanted to talk about Hogan's passing. You guys take care.